Hello all, welcome to this tutorial on isometric drawing. In this particular tutorial, we'll be learning how to draw isometric drawings in AutoCAD. One key features about isometric drawings is that the lines come in a particular angle. The angles are usually 30 degrees from the horizontal. 30 degrees from the horizontal. If you take a look at this particular drawing I have here, you will see that this line is not horizontal, but is at a particular angle. So this angle is actually 30 degrees from the horizontal. The same thing with this line is an inclined line, but it's at 30 degrees from the usual horizontal lines. Now, when you take a critical look at these drawings, you can easily identify that the lines are not horizontal. We have vertical lines, but we don't have an horizontal line. Because in isometric drawings, instead of the lines to be horizontal, they are 30 degree to the horizontal. So that means that to draw isometric drawings, you will need to make some settings on your AutoCAD sheet. So in this tutorial, we'll be looking at how to make those settings on your drawing sheet that will enable you to draw isometric drawings easily. But first, before we start those settings, let's understand in more details how isometric drawing works. Now, as I said, isometric drawings are 30 degrees from the horizontal. So now you can look at this. If you look at this line marked in red, they are 30 degrees to the horizontal. You can see the horizontal line in black, the horizontal line in black. So this line here is in isometric direction. This line here, these four lines are in isometric direction. This line here, this, this, and this. Those four lines in red, they are in isometric directions. So you need to be able to identify the lines in isometric directions. In the first quadrant, we have just one line in isometric direction. So this is my first quadrant. We have only one line in isometric direction. In my second quadrant, we have only one line in isometric direction. In my third, just one line in isometric direction. In my fourth quadrant, we have only just one line in isometric directions. So if perhaps while drawing your isometric drawings, while making your isometric drawings, you observe that there is a different line in a different direction. That line is not in isometric direction. So we are going to be drawing it using a different technique. Now, for instance, now, when you zoom in, now look at these two lines. This line here and this line here. They are both in the first quadrant. Looking at this point, using this point as a reference point, this line and this line are both in the first quadrant. But one of this line is not in isometric direction. So this particular line is at 30 degree to the horizontal. So this is the line that is in isometric direction. This line is not in isometric direction, even though both of them are in the first quadrant. Taking this point as your reference point, you can see from this point, the two lines are moving to your right-hand side, but one of it is not the isometric line, which is this. So now we're going to look at it, how to accomplish this kind of line. All right. So now next, we are going to now look at how to make your settings for isometric drawings in AutoCAD. Now, when you open a blank drawing sheet in AutoCAD, the first thing you want to do is your unit setting. Once you are done with the unit setting, now to activate your isometric drawing, you go to your drawing aid here, you will see ISO draft. So check ISO draft button, make sure that your ISO draft button is checked. Then also check auto. Make sure that these two drawing aid are checked. Auto mode, and ISO drafts. Now, beside ISO draft, you would observe that there is an arrow beside ISO draft. When you click on the arrow, you are going to see three planes: ISO plane left, isoplane top, isoplane right. Now, these three planes are meant to constrain your line to isometric directions, the 30-degree angle, so that your lines are going to remain at 30-degree angle. So, two key steps in making your drawing sheet for customized for isometric drawing is make sure that your auto mode is on and your ISO draft is on. Now, with these two on, now we can now make our drawing. Okay, hello, yeah. So we are going to be drawing this simple isometric drawing just to practice the idea, our idea. So the very first thing I'm going to do, is my unit setting. When you open a new sheet, remember to do your unit setting, UN, enter, and change to millimeter. Inches is the default in AutoCAD, change to millimeter. Then next, I'll do my AutoCAD setting for isometric drawing. I will on auto. Then I'll make sure that my ISO draft is on. Now on ISO draft, I have three possible planes. So I'll make sure that these two drawing aid are on. Then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm now going to start drawing my line. I'll pick line. I'm going to be starting from this point. So when I pick the points, now I want to move in this slant direction at a distance of 50. Now, if you look at the motion I have, I don't have that particular motion at the moment, but that means I need to change my ISO draft. I'm going to change to ISO draft, ISO plane top. I'll change to ISO plane top. So with ISO plane top, I have this particular direction. So I'll change to ISO plane top. Then now I'll type 50 as my distance. So once I do that, I can change my direction for 40. Now I want to move vertically up at 30, but this ISO plane is not giving me that direction. So that means I'm going to change my ISO plane. Now, one easy way of changing your ISO plane is by pressing F5 on your keyboard. So with F5, I can change my ISO plane 30. Now I want to come this direction 40. Then I'm going back here. I'll use my object snap to snap to this point. Okay, escape on my keyboard, pick my line again. Let me now continue from here. Okay, 60. Once you're in the direction, you can type in the dimension. Now, I want to move in this last direction forward at a distance of 25, but my current ISO plane is not giving me that direction. So I'll press F5 on my keyboard to have that direction and 25. Now, okay, at this point, if you look at this line is not an isometric line. It's not an isometric line. It's in the second quadrant, similarly with this, but this is isometric line. This is not. So when you have anytime you have a line like this, so you try and get to one end of the line, then navigate to the other end of the line, then you will use your object snap to connect the 2 points. So that's how to draw a line that is not in isometric direction. So you try and locate the two ends of the line and connect, because the line is not in isometric direction. So I'm able to draw that. Then I'm going to continue my drawing. Let me continue from here. Now I'm going to press F5 to change my direction at a distance of 40. Then now 25. Go back. All right. Now to get this line again, this line is not in isometric direction. I've gotten to the two end of the line. I'm just going to connect the line using my object snap. So now the next challenge for me now is to have these two circles. Now these two ISO circles actually, isometric circle, ISO circle, they are on three different planes. So to do this circle, I'm not going to use my normal circle. I'll go to ellipse, axis endpoint, ISO circle, isometric circle. Now to specify the center of the circle, I'm going to do a little bit of construction. So I can put a center at the middle point. Okay. Okay, so this is going to be the middle point of that circle for me. So I can now ISO circle, center point. Okay. Fortunately, this is giving me in the right plane. So now radius of 10. Okay, so that's my first ISO circle. I'm going to do a little bit of construction here too. So, okay, now F5. Oh no, I've snapped in the wrong direction. Middle points. Okay, so this is going to be the center of the second circle. Iso circle, center point, radius 10. Okay, just in case if you are in the wrong isoplane, if you're in the wrong isoplane, you're not going to get your iso circle in the right direction. If you're in the wrong isoplane, okay, now look at what I have now. If you're in the wrong isoplane, your iso circle is not going to be facing the right direction. Now you'll be having something like this if you are not in the right isoplane. So now to correct this, I'm going to terminate this and change my isoplane. So I'll change my isoplane, then I'm going to draw. Okay, so this is still the wrong isoplane. You can see that the isocircle is not facing the right direction. So this is a wrong isoplane. I'm going to change my isoplane again. Okay, now I'm in the right isoplane. I'm in the right isoplane. So radius of 10. Okay, so now I can delete this. Now, lastly, I'm going to draw this. So I'm going to use line to get the center point for the isocircle first. Okay, so isocircle, center of my isocircle. So once you're in the right plane, you can get your isocircle in the right direction. But if you're not in the right plane, your isocircle is not going to give you in the right direction. Okay, so now we have been able to make our first isometric drawing. So understanding this concept will help you to do much more complicated isometric drawing. Hope you have learned one or two in this particular video. Thank you so much.